What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Steph growing in Zone 6B. If you are here for the first time, welcome for the first time. As y'all can see, I am all bundled up. It is cold out here, y'all. It is cold out here. We have already had our first frost here in Zone B, Ohio. But, as I sit out here now, the sun is peeking out, and I'm grateful for that. So I was thinking about what I'm going to do for next season, how I'm going to organize my space, and really the word that came to me was intentionality. So typically the things that I gather as far as materials, when I get things on sale, if I plant something, it really is intentional in how I do it. So as a small space gardener, I have to be aware of how much space I have, what's important to me, what do I use every day. And so that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So there are three main focuses for me in 2025, and I'm going to share them with you. So it'll give you maybe something to think about as you go into your 2025 season. And so I'm going to get right into it. So the first thing that I thought about is space. So because I'm a small space gardener, I don't have a lot of room for lots of things, although I do pack them in pretty tightly. I tried the intensive gardening method where you plant things a lot closer than they are supposed to be planted. But to be honest, guys, that didn't really work for me. I like my vegetables to grow full size, and I just didn't feel like that yielded nice sized vegetables. And so I'm not going to do that this year. I am going to, I won't say that I'll use the recommendations of all the spacing on the package, but I will plant them and plant my vegetables in a way where it'll give them enough space to grow so that they will be sizable. But when it comes to space, I mean in the terms of thinking about what I am going to grow specifically. So usually, I love growing corn. Um, it is delicious off of the stalk, and it's fun for me to grow. I don't know if I'll grow corn this year though. Corn takes up a lot of space, and you get a small yield. And here in Ohio, it is pretty easy to source organic corn. Organic corn comes a dime a dozen in Ohio. If you go further south in Ohio, out to the farming industries and farming land, even out to like Amish country, we have that here, or some of the more rural areas, you can get fresh corn off the stalk, organic, all day long. And so, now, while I know not all farmers use organic practices, that's something that you can source easily, and it's cheap. Also, if you have noticed, I haven't planted garlic yet this season. I tend to plant my garlic late anyway. In Ohio, what I notice is we have this patch of warm weather, and then it gets really cold, and then it gets really warm again. So I typically don't plant my garlic until December, but to be honest, I don't know if I'll plant it this year. Garlic is pretty cheap. Um, Garlic is pretty cheap. I can get like 6 cloves for like $6. I know that's not cheap for some people, but for me that's pretty cheap relative to how much I use garlic. I don't know that it's worth the resources to plant it. I may that one I'm on the fence about. We'll have to see what I do. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. And heirloom tomatoes. I know people love heirloom tomatoes. I tried heirloom tomatoes 2 years in a row, and they just seem to be more disease resistant than any other tomato variety that I have ever grown. I know that people say that those are supposed to be the best tasting and have the best varieties and all of that, but I grow for production and yield. And so thinking about how I'm going to get the most yield out of my small space, I need to grow things that produce well. And so that'll bring me into um, my next consideration for 2025 is varieties. So I already talked about heirloom tomatoes. I don't know that I'll do that again. Although, just an FYI, if you are thinking about having a plant sale, people really do like heirloom tomatoes, and so I may grow some for the plant sale, but I am not going to grow any for my own space. If they do well for others, then that's fantastic. They do not do well for me, and so since they don't do well for me, and I grow for yield, I grow for taste and yield. I want something that's going to be a heavy producer, because really, if I am, fertilizing and using water and using resources, I don't want to grow something where you get 2 or 3 tomatoes or maybe 4 or 5 very large tomatoes and then nothing else. So, when it comes to varieties, I think that my focus for some varieties, like some brassicas, are going to be on the shorter day varieties. So they have a container variety cauliflower, broccoli, an early Wakefield cabbage, and some other vegetables that grow quickly. I'm also looking at what grows best in clay soil. So my soil, I live in Ohio, my soil is clay. Although my soil is pretty loose now. I've been working on my soil for the last 3.5 years, and so I have pretty good soil. I also have homemade compost to amend my soil. So I have decent soil, but if you go down deep, it is still clay. And so I like to plant things that do well in clay soil. Like there's certain carrot varieties that I can plant directly in the ground. Being able to plant in the ground anywhere instead of like planting in a raised bed will allow me more space in my garden. And so it allows me to use every square foot, not just the spaces that I amended, but maybe some of the spaces that I didn't. And so, I'm going to look through when they start sending them seed catalogs. I'm going to look through those seed catalogs and see, what does it say about what grows best in my area? What varieties have I used historically that have yielded the best, have been the most disease resistant? And so, that's really going to be a focus for me. And so just looking into that to get the largest yield I can, to have the most fun that I can out here. And also, feel of the space. So I do not like chaos. My garden gets very chaotic in the summer, and most people's does. You planting, you moving things around, you reorganizing, all of that is happening. And so things do get pretty chaotic in the spring and the summer, especially when you kind of in the thick of growing your vegetables. But what I'll say is, how my garden is set up relative to the sun. How does it feel when I walk through? How do I maximize the areas even if they get a lot of shade? So thinking about that. And so, thinking about what grew best where. Like I grow potatoes in grow bags. I tried 3 methods of growing potatoes this year. I tried grow bag, I tried raised bed, and I tried in-ground. Grow bags still yielded the best for me. And so, that's a practice that I'll probably always do because that's how I get the best yield. My peppers, I will not put any peppers in the ground. My peppers do best in grow bags. But on the other hand, my tomatoes and my collard greens do amazing. I found out also that I can grow carrots in the ground. And so, just kind of, balancing out the pros and cons of what worked. I also, want to incorporate more herbal teas in my garden. So thinking about how I can do that, and, just, thinking about what herbs do I want to grow. I love to have fruit trees, so I added some more fruit trees. In fact, I have 3 wild blackberry bushes that came in the mail a couple days ago that I put the bare root in water today, and it's too cold to plant them, but I got to stick them in some dirt because they already came. So They was 3 for 20 something dollars. I'm gonna go and put them in the ground and see what happens. I'm gonna mulch them up good. The ground is not frozen. If they don't establish, they don't establish. But that's just what I'm gonna do. So I love getting fruit production out of my garden. I have 2 apple trees. I have a peach tree. I have a pear tree. I have lots of berry bushes. I even put an almond tree in here. And you know, I don't space them real far apart because I don't have the space to do that. I understand that I'll get a smaller production probably, but they are growing just fine with the spacing that I give them. So if they say 7 feet, I might do 3 feet. I might do 5 feet. I might even do a foot apart. I'm gonna squeeze as much as I can into the space that I can and have like a mini orchard area. As a ground cover, I also put strawberry plants at the bottom of those plants as a natural mulch. They are great for ground cover. They do grow very prolifically in my space. So thinking about that, I also want to enjoy the space. You know, I don't want to come out here and just work, work, work. So trying to set my garden up where some things are, you know, working for themselves. And so, you know, that's what I'm thinking about, y'all. So, you know, as I go into the 2025 season and I think about what's going well, what's working, what doesn't, that's how I'm going to do things going forward. Will I still plant things for fun? Yeah, absolutely. But will I also have my staples and do things with intentionality? Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. So, yeah, that's what was on my mind, on my heart right before Thanksgiving. I got a few more greens to harvest, which I am absolutely gonna do so that I can add those to the pot for Thanksgiving. I hope that you guys are doing well and that you have a nice holiday season if you celebrate. And yeah, looking around, I got a few maintenance things to do, even in the fall. So I will see you guys on the next video. You guys take care and bye for now.